Hey, my name's Jonathan Clark. I'm also known online as DJ Bolivia, and thanks for tuning into this video. It's going to be a short one just to explain the use and the technology behind a power bank. So if you're looking at buying a power bank, you might find it to be useful. Here's an example of a power bank, and I'm going to review this one later on in the video. So basically, you may have problems. Let's say that you're out and about and you find that your mobile phone is losing its charge pretty frequently, either because you're doing a lot of talking or a lot of video work and photos or something, or it's just, the battery doesn't seem to hold a charge. And you're having problems keeping it charged, but you're also unable to charge it. Like maybe there's no electrical outlets around that you can plug into. Solution to that is to get a portable power bank. Okay, so some situations when this might be useful: if you're on a hiking, camping trip for a week, maybe you're at a sports event that's several hours long. You're trying to take a lot of video with your phone. Maybe you're out at a bar or a restaurant and there's no outlets handy to where you're sitting, where your group is sitting. Or maybe you're in an airport or a train station, and some airports are really good about getting power into them all over the place in the last couple of years, because they know that people need to charge laptops and phones and stuff. But there's still a lot of airports out there that are just terrible for trying to find a place to charge. Okay, so basically your power bank is a portable battery, and you can use this to plug in your phone or some other devices and charge your phone on the go without needing that wired connection to an electrical outlet. Okay, so what's it good for charging? There's kind of three groups of low voltage devices. Now there's a lot of stuff that's 5 volts, which is good. And this includes a lot of mobile phones. It includes a lot of MP3 players, some tablets, and some of the cameras, mostly smaller cameras, not DSLRs, but smaller cameras like the GoPros. GoPros will all charge off a power bank. Okay. Now there's another group of devices that are usually 8 to 12 volt, that sort of range. And that includes a lot of the bigger cameras. It includes some of the bigger tablets. Some of these items you may not be able to charge with a power bank. It depends on the connection that they take. And then finally, bigger things like laptops. Laptops are usually 12 to 24 volts. And so they plug into either 110 to 120 volt, or in Europe they plug into 220, 240, and then they have a step-down transformer, and so it reduces the voltage to a level that the laptop can take. So a power bank is not going to help with that. But considering how many people have phones, MP3 players, and things like GoPros and stuff like this, and small tablets, power bank could be ideal for your needs. Okay, so let's look at some of the technology behind it next. So basically, if I were to take this apart, which I'm not going to do, this one would look a lot like a real battery. And sometimes the inside of a power bank, especially if you've got a cheaper one, it actually is a bunch of standard batteries. Now by standard, I'm referring to a battery. There's a battery called the 18650, and it's a special model of a small battery. Depending on the manufacturer, the capacity of the 18650 is between 2,000 and 3,000 milliamp hours. So this is a special battery that's used in a lot of stuff. And it's common sometimes in Asia for certain manufacturers to build their power banks by just putting a bunch of 18650s into the power bank. So sometimes you'll open one up and you'll actually see just a whole series of real batteries. Okay, and this isn't necessarily a good thing. Now, power banks, the insides of them, the battery storage capacity, can be one of two types. It can be lithium ion, or it can be lithium polymer. And lithium ion is it's a liquid electrolyte, and lithium polymer is a solid electrolyte. And lithium polymer is often abbreviated Li-poly, Li-polymer or Li-poly. Okay, so what's the difference? Li-poly, lithium polymer, is first of all, its storage capacity decays more slowly. Secondly, it has a lower self-discharge rate. Third, it's flexible in size and dimensions, as opposed to like a standard just battery, one size. And fourth, it gives off less heat, so that means it's more efficient and it's also safer. So what's the drawbacks of lithium polymer, sorry? Big drawback is it's more expensive, and that's why some of the cheap models of power banks just use a whole bunch of 18650s inside them. Okay, so when you're looking at a power bank, basically there's about 4 things that you should definitely try to look at in terms of specs to see what's good. First one, and the big one, I guess, is the number of milliamp hours. Okay, and this is usually expressed in thousands, so because it's milliamp hours. So let's say you had something that's 3000 milliamp hours, that's the same as 1 amp hour. Okay, but they call it milliamp hours, M-A-H. Small m, capital A, capital H. Basically, the number of milliamp hours, your phone battery is also listed this way, and a lot of phones have between 2,000 and 3,000 milliamp hours in their batteries. And so a power charger, like this one, for example, is 11,200 mAh. Okay, and you can get power banks that have anywhere from just a couple thousand mAh up to tens and tens of thousands of mAh, okay? So look at that, and I'll talk about that setting a little bit more in just a second. Okay, the second thing that you want to look at is, will it charge and discharge simultaneously? Okay, so some power banks, while they are plugged into the wall, charging themselves, they can simultaneously also charge a connected device or a couple connected devices. Okay, that's probably the most flexible. Some power banks, when they're plugged into the wall, cannot charge another connected device. That's a drawback, definitely a drawback. And then finally, some devices, some power banks, when they're connected to the wall and connected to a device, the charge flows through, and instead of charging the device and the power bank itself simultaneously, it will charge the device first. Then once the device is full, it'll start charging the power bank. Interesting, okay? So I guess there's pros and cons to the different things. Like, if you have a power bank that charges the device first and then the power bank, well, they use the same cords. So if you wanted to, you could do this exactly the same thing by plugging your device directly into the wall first, waiting until that's charged, then taking it out, and then plugging your power bank in. Same thing, although it's an extra step of connecting stuff. There can be advantages to having something that charges the power bank and the device concurrently at the same time, especially if you're trying to, say you've only got 20 minutes or whatever, and you want to try and give a little bit of a charge to each of them, and you don't want to like do one for 10 minutes then switch the cord. So, okay, different options, depends on your needs. Third thing that you want to look at is the number of output ports. So maybe the power bank has 2 output ports, so you could charge 2 phones simultaneously, or a phone and a tablet, phone and a camera, whatever. But not all have 2 ports. And then the final thing is the output current rating, okay? And so basically a higher output current is better. Stronger current, better. Okay, so those are 4 things to look for. Probably one of the main questions that you'll have is, how many times can my power bank charge my phone? It's a good question. And there's a rough formula that you can use to figure it out, although not entirely scientific. I'll talk about it in a minute. Basically, let's look at capacity of power banks. Some of them will be advertised as having, say, 3,000 mAh or 4,000 mAh, and that's pretty low. Basically, that's probably a power bank that has a single lithium-ion 18650 battery in it. And that's only going to charge your phone maybe once, maybe not even give it a full charge. So that's fairly useless to you. You're going to want something better than that. Stay away from those. Second thing is, you may find some that have pretty high storage capacities, like 30,000, 40,000, 50,000 mAh. And in my experience, those, I'm pretty leery of those. Some of them are scams. Like, seriously, to have something with that kind of storage capacity, it's going to be a pretty massive battery, and it's going to be pretty heavy. It's not the sort of thing that's really that portable. Maybe if you're on a 3-week camping trip or something that could do that, it would be useful, but certainly not portable like this sort of thing, okay? And some of them I don't think are actually, they say they're good for 40,000 mAh. Some of them I don't really are. I think probably there's a little bit of scams there. So look for a branded power bank. That's probably your safest bet. And go on to a place like Amazon. Amazon reviews are fantastic. There's lots of product reviews from people that have bought the things through Amazon, and other websites, not just Amazon. In my limited experience, I would say that the power banks of, say, between 8 or 9,000 mAh and up to, say, 15,000 mAh are probably the best ones. Those seem the most realistic. They're a good combination of amount of charge versus portability. And if you get a branded one of those and check the reviews before you buy online, you're probably going to get something that's pretty good, and it probably won't be too expensive. Okay, so if you're trying to figure out just how much charge your power bank can give to your remote device, how many times it can charge your phone or whatever, let's look at a formula to figure that out. And I'm going to refer a couple times here to device battery. So when I say that, I mean the battery of whatever it happens to be that you want to charge. So it could be your phone battery, tablet battery, GoPro battery, GPS battery, something like that, okay? Device battery, I'm not referring to the battery inside your power bank. So basically, to get a rough idea of how much energy from your power bank, how often, how many times that will charge your device, in a perfect world, in a theoretical sense, you just divide the number of mAh from your power bank by the number in your phone. So let's say that your phone, your device, has an internal battery that's 3,000 mAh. And let's say that your power bank is 12,000 mAh. You just divide it out. 12,000 divide 3,000 equals 4. So you would think that you should be able to charge your phone roughly 4 times. Okay? And that's a pretty good approximation. The only problem is that there are 2 things which reduce the number of times that you'll be able to charge. Okay, the first is the battery health of your device battery health. And so the problem is a lot of batteries over time, they become less healthy. And it means that when they're fully charged, they'll drain their charge, they'll lose their charge more quickly as they get older. So you've probably noticed this with a phone. When you first get the phone, it'll hold its charge for a long time, maybe a full day when you're using it. But once it's 1.5 years, 2 years old, you'll find that its charge may only last 4 or 5 hours quite often. And that's because the battery health is deteriorating. So you have to come up with some sort of multiplier. So maybe your phone is 6 months old, and maybe through experimentation, you'll be able to figure out that your phone battery health, device battery health, to get a good approximation, you have to multiply it by something like 80%. It's not at full 100% health. Okay? And the only way to come up with a number like this, there's no real scientific easy way to measure it, and it's constantly changing because over time it degrades. Now, the other thing that affects you is that there's a conversion loss. And so that means when your power bank is charging another device, some of the energy is not being transferred into the device battery. Some is being lost as heat. Some is just being lost because of inefficiencies in the energy transfer process. So if there's, say, 15% loss of energy to heat and inefficiencies as you're charging something else, then 15% gone means only 85% is retained. Okay? So basically, in my previous example of a 12,000 mAh power bank and a 3,000 mAh phone device, having 4 times the charge, what you do is you multiply that 4 by your device battery health, and again multiply it by your conversion rate. Okay, so if we started out with 4 times and we're multiplying by 80%, 80 over 100, because your phone's your device battery health is down a little bit, and then you further multiply that by 85%, or 85 over 100, because you're losing a bit of energy in the conversion process, then your 4 times becomes 2.72. Okay, so in that case, you'll know that your power bank is able to charge your phone probably almost 3 times entirely, 2.5, 3 times, roughly in that range. And that's a more accurate way to look at the capacity of your power bank. Okay, so let's do a quick review of the specs of this particular power bank that I bought. It's the brand name is IntoCircuit Power Castle series. The model is a PC11200, which means it's an 11,200 mAh model. And the voltage, 5 volts. You can charge 2 devices simultaneously. It has internal circuit protection, which is good. That's something I didn't mention. It's good to have a power bank with internal circuit protection to protect from over or under voltage or current. Otherwise, if you connect something that's a bad voltage or current, it can fry your batteries. And I guess in limited circumstances, it could cause the batteries to explode or to melt, leak, all sorts of problems. More commonly, it just means that it's going to fry your batteries, and so they're going to not hold a charge very well, or maybe not hold a charge at all, and your power bank is now useless. Okay, so this one has internal circuit protection. This one does not come with a charger, but that's okay because presumably the device that you're charging, like your phone or something like that, has a charger, and you use that one to charge this. So you can see that this one takes the same charger that my phone does, and my tablet, and my GoPros. And then finally, this one, when it's charging, if there are devices, it'll charge 2 devices at once, that's nice. When it's charging from the wall, if devices are hooked up, those devices are charged first before this gets charged. Okay, and finally, the price. This was about $30 Canadian from Amazon. And the Amazon reviews on this were quite good, so I decided to take a chance on it, and I'm glad I did. It worked out pretty well. Now the specs for this one, I did some tests on it. I used my Nexus 5 phone, and I used this. So I started the phone with no charge at all, and I started this with 100% charge, and I tried to see how long it would take to charge the phone and what it would do to drain this. Now this one, if you hold the button in, it's got a reading to say what percentage the charge is of this thing. So this is at 82% right now. And when I charge my phone, I did it twice because there's a 2.1 amp circuit and there's a 1 amp circuit. Both are 5 volts. And so I tried charging the phone from nothing with each of these. And for the, let me get the specs. For the power bank at 100% and the phone at 0, it took 108 minutes to charge when I used the 2.1 amp line. That drained the power bank from 100% down to 63%. So it took away about a third of my charge here. Now when I used the 1 amp line, which is slower, it took 137 minutes, so a little over 2 hours, instead of 108 minutes, to charge the phone up to 100% from nothing. But it only drained this power pack from 100 down to 83%. So it took, it was slower, but it took a lot less of a drain out of this thing. Okay, so this one I'm pretty happy with. I think this one's been replaced. It's not in production anymore, but the new one is a, I think it's a PC 13000 instead of PC 11200. That's the new model number. Okay, one very, very important thing. A lot of airlines, if you are traveling, a lot of airlines do not allow you to put a power bank or miscellaneous lithium batteries into your checked baggage unless certain rules are followed. Okay, so usually if it's in your checked baggage, a power bank never. A battery can be in your checked baggage if it's in a device, like if it's inside a camera, or if it's still unopened in its original packaging, or if it's in a holder, which means the contacts of the battery can't touch other stuff, basically, so it kind of isolates the battery. Okay, so that's about the only times that you can carry spare batteries in your checked baggage. Okay, new in package, in a device, or isolated somehow. A lot of airlines also have rules like you're not allowed to have more than 10 spare batteries, and you're not allowed to have a spare battery with a capacity of more than 160,000 mAh, as one example. That's a pretty big battery. 160 amp hour battery is basically a truck battery. Okay, but basically you're probably going to have to carry this thing in your carry-on, and Nowadays, you may have to be able to prove that it works. So if it's totally dead and you take it through airport security, they may say, well, we don't trust this, we're taking it away from you. So it's always good to make sure that you've got a charge on your power bank when you're going through airport security. It's in your checked bag. Same thing with other devices like laptops and stuff. They want to be able to see that you can open it up and it's actually a working laptop. It's not a bomb, whatever. Okay, so best approach, before you fly, go online, read the rules of the airline, and find out exactly what they say about batteries and power banks. Okay, you can take them, but you just have to follow certain rules. I think that's all I need to say. I will post a list of a whole bunch of different battery capacities of common mobile phones in the description under the video. And of course, right now, the stuff that I post, those phones will be out of date in 24 months. So maybe I'll update that over time. Okay, anyway, that's all. Thanks for watching. Hopefully this takes a little bit of the mystery out of what a power bank is and what the specs mean. And if you want to check out some of my other videos, I have all kinds of videos about DJing, tutorials about music production, gear reviews, technological stuff, fun stuff. You can find it all at djbolivia.ca/videos. Okay, cheers. Thanks for watching.